Hey, here we are, day 21 in our 30-day series. We are ramping up and getting things really moving. So, I want to take this moment to thank you for being on this journey. I know that cultivating, sobriety, and really leaning into an alcohol-free lifestyle while we're leaning into emotional stability and holistic health so that we can actually make this year so much better than the ones before. So I want to thank you for sticking in there and doing this hard work. It's this is a process that I do with people over a significant period of time, meaning a 3-month journey that generally looks like 6 months of dedicated work, and oftentimes leads to a longer period of time, right? So this kind of change doesn't happen just because we think about it. This change happens when we are productive and proactive, and we actually do the work day in and day out, over and over and over and over again. So that this brings me directly to, and I don't want to lean into that too much. I just wanted to acknowledge you as we're on day 21, and I want you to answer this question. This is our topic for today. Are your self-soothing tactics outdated? Think about that for a minute, right? Ask yourself if your go-to method to find solace looks like a gallon of ice cream, a bottle of wine, or a shopping spree. Because these things are actually conditioned behaviors that are seated in your childhood. They've been passed down to you from generation to generation, almost like they were bred into you, or like it was bred into you that you don't face distress. You just sweep it under the rug and do what you have to do to stop the pain for only a moment, if only for a moment. So really think about that, because if you think about it, if you're eating, you're leaning into that, the Ben and Jerry's when you're sad, right? Like that ice cream is only soothing when it hits your tongue, the moment that it hits your palate, but it doesn't actually remove the pain. And ultimately, with personal experience, I can say, right? Like it just breeds more distress, because then we have the self-loathing for the fact that we sat and ate a gallon of ice cream, right? Like your story is your story, but that's the deal, right? Like what are your self-soothing tactics, and are they outdated? So we want to look at that, and that's our challenge today. I want you to identify and delete your toxic choices. Now, I know deleting doesn't happen overnight, but if you're writing it down and you say, like I've identified this tactic or this choice that I utilize as being toxic, therefore it can be on the to be deleted file, right? Like these are things that I need to delete, and we may have to do them one at a time, depending on the level. Because if it's leaning into a bottle of wine and you've been doing that every single day for a certain period of time, like we're going to have some withdrawal. Even that ice cream, if you lean into ice cream or refined sugars as your self-soothing tactic, and you're doing that on a daily basis or quite frequently, like there's going to be some withdrawal from that refined sugars. And boy, is it hard to stop the retail therapy. I get it. So, so we want to identify those toxic choices and put them in a delete column, and very cognitively, right, very purposefully, with a lot of insight and wisdom, start the plan for deleting those. Then I want you to edit those tactics or methods that you utilize that are salvageable. So I want you to edit them with improvement. So if something you really love doesn't quite work for you, how can it work for you? And that might be just reducing that emotional attachment. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know what that might be, but there are salvageable tactics that just need some tweaking and improvement. And then I want you to identify and add new productive and proactive tactics. And I'm going to give you some ideas that may help you create a list of new productive and proactive tactics that you can add. Because self-soothing has to do with comforting, it has to do with nurturing and being kind to yourself. So try to think of soothing each of your five senses. Right. So if we want to add new things, we want to break it down like into your five senses. So visually, right, your vision, look at nature around you. You can go to a museum that has beautiful art. You can buy a flower and put it where you can see it. You know, that can be one of the most productive and proactive things, is to put something that gives you peace and joy right in your eyesight while you're doing your work as a reminder. So then there's hearing, right? You can turn on some soothing music, a recording of the ocean, or the sound of, I don't know, like maybe somebody chopping wood, something that will give you an auditory soothing effect. So then there's smell. If you're me, smell is a tough one because I lost my sense of smell years and years and years ago. So this one's difficult for me. I kind of have to make up for it in other areas. But for you, you could cook breakfast, you could light a scented candle, you could bake some bread, take a walk in the garden and take the time to notice what you smell. Then there's taste. This one is a little tricky because we don't want to be soothing so much with, putting things in our mouth, but it could be how we do it. So if you think of a special treat, even if that's just orange slices, but you're eating it slowly, right? Like you're really paying attention to it and it's something that you enjoy. And perhaps instead of thinking of it as getting my vitamins and my fruit, I can think of it as something that, although it's high in natural sugars and I can only have it sometimes, like I want to enjoy it. Anyway, you want to drink something that's soothing. Perhaps that's herbal tea with some honey in it, have some hot chocolate, something along that line. Just really let that taste run over your tongue and slowly down your throat so it can just be calming. And then touch. Touch is a really good one, right? Tactile tactics are amazing. If you have dogs or you're a dog lover like me, I'm sure in some of the videos you've noticed Augie here with me, right? Like we can take that time out to pet our dogs. If you have small children or even a baby, right? Like give them a cuddle. What you have on your body, perhaps choosing what shirt you wear, something that allows you to feel softness can be really effective. So this is some, true self-observation, self-identification, and, determination, right? Like that we need right now, because breaking things down into categories and identifying, like what needs to be removed, what can be improved, and, what's salvageable, and how can I fill in some gaps and add some new things in, we want to keep that, broken down, and then having those ideas of what we can do. So let's improve our self-soothing tactics. Let's bring them into the today. For me today, who I am today as a new being, not the child or adolescent and the things that we used back then, because our distress is not something to be swept under the rug. It's something to be nurtured. It's something to be given attention to, but when we're in the right headspace. Anyway, thank you so much. Have an amazing day. I want to be mindful of your time. Talk to you soon.